We take a moment to enjoy some great New Zealand moments in sporting history every couple of weeks. We've been doing it for a few years now, and we don't seem to run out of great moments. The enduring image of Grant Elliot hitting a six to send New Zealand into their first ever one-day cricket World Cup final in 2015 brought many of us to tears.
Here we go, Dale Steyn. Elliot on strike. Elliot hits it up into the grandstand, and New Zealand are in the World Cup final! Grant Elliot, Superman!
Ah, so good. Actually, also making headlines in the aftermath of that historic victory was the sportsmanship that Grant Elliot displayed in extending a hand to the South African bowler he had just dispatched, Dale Steyn, as he lay devastated on the ground. Grant began his cricketing career in his native South Africa, but a move to New Zealand set him up for an international career that saw him compete in all formats of the game. He's now a familiar voice in the commentary box, and he joins us today to reflect not just on his impressive career, but the state of the game he loves in an age of franchise leagues and contractual flexibility. Grant Elliot, hello.
Hey Jesse, how's it going? Good to be on the show.
Good. Thanks for your time this afternoon. I'm so looking forward to talking to you, and you've been high on my list ever since that moment in 2015. So I actually want to go back a little earlier in your life and talk about rugby. You grew up in South Africa, as I mentioned, and I understand the 1995 Rugby World Cup was a kind of a significant moment in your own life. What do you recall about that time?
Yeah, I think, the 95 World Cup, it was, pretty shortly after apartheid. And, growing up in South Africa, you didn't even know apartheid was happening until you started learning about it in school. And I remember learning about it in school and just going like, wow, did this actually happen? I can't believe that this has happened in our country. But 95 World Cup with Nelson Mandela and bringing together a country, it really did show how sport can galvanize a country, and a country that was very fragmented. 11 different languages or national languages in the country, vast number of different cultures within South Africa, and back then it was around 49 million people. So a significant event like the Rugby World Cup, I think, was something that really did bring the country together for that moment.
And
I remember watching.
Yeah, sorry, you carry on, Grant.
Oh, I remember watching it at a friend's house. I was at the age when, so I was sort of 16 and playing rugby at school. Loved rugby, like could name all the players. Actually ran on the field at Loftus Versfeld right next to Jonah Lomu. It was in those days
awesome.
you could sort of get access to the fields, and it was Gavin Hastings' last game. So I followed it like religiously. I loved Rugby World Cup. I was at that age and watched it at a friend's house, and then getting driven back by my mum from my friend's house to where the parents were. And the parents are obviously quite jolly. That had a couple of orange Fantas, and they were standing around the barbecue, and some of them almost fell into the barbecue. They're having such a good time, but they were like ecstatic. There was, the horns, the vuvuzelas were out, cars were hooting their horns. The country just went absolutely crazy, and it came to a standstill that night.
Was it always going to be cricket for you, though?
I enjoyed rugby more, to be fair. I don't think that the nickname Broken Pencil probably, slanted towards a rugby career. Cricket was something that I played from a young age, and I got contracted as a professional cricketer at 16 in South Africa. So I was pretty much, I guess my future was already written for me. So I just fell into it, really. But if I knew then what I know now about gym and maybe getting your body right, I probably would have tried to pursue rugby a little bit further because I really enjoyed it.
And actually, if you knew then what you know now, you might have stuck with the nickname Broken Pencil. It might have been preferable to some of the other ones that got attached to you later in life, but we won't go down that route today. I understand there was a New Zealand cricketer that a lot of our listeners will know who was pretty instrumental in your move to New Zealand.
Yeah, I grew up. So when I first became professional, Ken Rutherford was over in South Africa. He actually played for my club, and I think it was playing alongside Ken that gave me my debut, one day debut, and got me a contract. So when I actually had a contract dispute in South Africa and couldn't go anywhere at the time. So I played for as a professional for sort of 6, 7 years. And I phoned Ken, and he was like, "Well, you should go to Christchurch. Christchurch is a great place to go." I don't know if he thought it was the closest thing to South Africa, or whether it was just the cricket infrastructure. So yeah, started off with playing at Marist Cricket Club under the coach Greg Curtin, who unfortunately now has passed away. But yeah, it was a very special time in my life, and I think I had to go back to grassroots. I had to clean the slate. No one knew who I was. No one knew what I had done, and I started from the bottom again and had to work my way up. So I came as a player coach, and um, I really enjoyed playing club cricket. Club cricket's tough in New Zealand. The conditions are not easy, but made Canterbury A, and sort of then worked my way towards Wellington and eventually to New Zealand.
Yeah. What is it like thinking about a new national team? You would have grown up, I'm sure, dreaming of turning out for the South African team. It was Proteas? My memory's eluding me now for some reason. But then the dream changes, and is it hard to align yourself, given that they're national squads, with it, suddenly think of yourself as representing New Zealand?
Yeah, I think I haven't dug that deep into it in terms of the emotional trauma you might go through, because I guess like I didn't leave South Africa on my terms. I had a contract dispute, and I left and thought, well, this just isn't the country for me. And given after apartheid ended, and positive discrimination, and I believe that was the way to go in South Africa. There were so many impoverished people that positive discrimination is the only way to go. Where being a single white male was probably not. I wasn't really looked after in South Africa. I wasn't seen as someone that was of as much importance, I guess, in the country, and that's fair enough. So, leaving South Africa, it did hurt. Like, I love the country, like, beautiful country. I'll never say don't go visit it. It's a magnificent place to visit. But when I came to New Zealand, and I made the decision probably after that first season that I was going to stay here, because I went on a 17-day trip around New Zealand, and I was like, wow, this place is beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. And I can see myself bringing up children in this country and having a family. So I then started supporting the All Blacks and thought, I don't want to be a South African living in New Zealand. I want to become a Kiwi. So I think once you make that shift, you kind of, I don't think it's turning your back, but you just forget about your past, because it can be quite hurtful living back in that sort of age.
Great. Do you remember your debut?
A New Zealand debut.
Yeah, for the Black Caps.
Oh, yes, yeah. It wasn't that colourful. I wasn't a great Test cricketer. Geez, yeah, I can make excuses and say, oh, I should have been given more chances, but I didn't really take. I had 5 outings in 3 years and didn't really do that well. So my debut was a Test match in Napier, and it was against England. And Stuart Broad was quite young. He got me out in the first innings, and Ryan Sidebottom in the second. But my best memory of that was Tim Southey. I debuted with him, and he had an amazing debut. He got 5 wickets and smashed 60. And I remembered every song that the Barmy Army sang. I got to, recite them afterwards. And like having the Barmy Army at a game was quite exciting, even though we lost that game. But you always remember it. It's an amazing moment, and for me, quite an emotional one, in that, you do spend almost your whole career trying to chase a international cap. And I wanted to play at the highest level, and New Zealand was my new home, so it was a very special moment. I think like maybe the emotions got to me a little bit during that game, and I wasn't able to just sort of push that all aside and just watch the ball, which was always probably my biggest issue, which I kind of mastered towards the end.
You were responsible for one of the greatest moments in New Zealand's cricket history. Ask any New Zealand cricket fan, and that moment we played from 2015 will be in their top 5, I reckon. Is it Is it your highlight of your representative career for New Zealand?
It's, it's strange, like a professional career. Like you heard Scotty Scheffler the other day, and he was just like, I just kind of do my job. And I think, you get really, if you get too high and you get too low in cricket, you're going to be going through hell because there's more failures than there are, the good times. So you don't tend to celebrate your victories and your wins as much as you should. Like the best feeling you can get as a sportsman and woman is when you have that feeling of contentment, like I've done my job. There's nothing more I could have done out there. Like I've left it all out there, and I've accomplished something. And the best feeling is for your team as well, getting your team over the line. Now, in cricket, there's so many different, cogs to the wheel, and like getting there. Like Brendan had a magnificent innings. Corey Anderson had a great innings. Ross had a great innings. And I was just fortunate to be there at the end and finish it off. So it was a team effort. But when I think about it for me personally, I was very fortunate that I got to hit the winning runs because you can finish your career, and I think a lot of sportsmen and women do finish their career and they have some resentment towards the sport, or I should have been given more of a chance, or whatever it may be. But I'm really grateful that what cricket's given me in terms of my character and being remembered for a really great moment. Because there was a funny moment where I was knocked over at the Oval, and it was in my first series in England. And I was running towards the other end, and Ryan Sidebottom collided with me. I fell on the floor. I got up. They ran me out. It was like really dramatic, and everyone was on the balcony, kind of swearing at the England team. And it was in the newspapers, front page and everything. So anyway, I came back to New Zealand. I was playing for Wellington, and one of the kids goes, "Oh, there's Grant Elliot," and I was on the boundary fielding, and one of the other kids goes, "Who?" And he goes, "The guy that was knocked over on the field in England." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, I hope I don't get remembered for that, like that'd be awful. Like, I work hard at my career. I really don't want to be remembered for being the guy that got knocked over by Ryan Sidebottom.
Can you, a lot of people will only remember the shots. Can you set the scene for us?
Well, I can. There's 40,000 people. It was Eden Park. And if you can close your eyes and kind of imagine someone maybe 3 meters from the top of your head at a 45-degree angle, kind of shouting, that's how loud it was. It was really intense. It feels like the crowd is just on top of you. And it's the closest we probably got as a team to what it would feel like to be an All Black, because the stadium was just, you could feel the tension, every ball, every delivery. And not often do you feel it out in the middle. You feel it in India a lot because the crowd's just immense and very noisy. So you do feel it there where you can't hear yourself, call, even when you shout for a run. The pressure, I'd say, like, I didn't feel pressure during that game. I felt excitement because it was, semi-final. And I always felt that, you only got one chance at this opportunity. There's only one chance to play in a World Cup semi-final against, my country of birth, in front of New Zealand public, my family. And it was exciting. But then that excitement soon turns to why me? Like at the end. I didn't have a lot of good press during my career, and I think that your mind can go towards the catastrophic, finish where, what if I don't get the runs? What if I get out here and we lose? Like, will I be that guy that walks into the room and everyone says, "Oh, well, that's the guy that was not out at the end and couldn't get us over the line"? And, the narrative that goes through your mind in those moments is it's quite astounding. And I think at your younger ages, when you're going through professional sport, you can't calm that noise. But when you're a little bit older, you can actually calm it. You've got the tools. You're able to breathe through it. You're able to focus and, grit your teeth, and you either fight, flight, or freeze, and I've always fought through things, and that was a moment where it was like it was me or Dale Steyn, and on another day, Dale Steyn wins that battle, and I was just lucky to get out on the other end.
How many runs did you need with 2 balls to go?
We needed 5, but I knew that if we got 4, and all my teammates were like, "Oh, you didn't know that?" I was like, "I did know that." If we got 4 runs, because we were ending up top of the pool, we would have gone through anyway. So I thought, well, if I'll have a go here, and if I don't get it, well, then good luck. Tim can come in and do it.
Yeah. You basically needed a boundary, and you knew you had 2 shots at it. You didn't want to go for 1 or 2 and only have 1 shot at the boundary.
Well, Dan Vittori came down. He did his bit. He had a great 4. He had a brilliant boundary down to past third man, and past Morne Morkel, one of the tallest guys out there, who diving stretch left, just couldn't get it. And then we got a single, and then when it came down to 2 balls, we walked down to the middle, and obviously it's a pretty stressful situation, and he was like, well, I guess it's all up to you now. And I was like, oh, brilliant. So, I mean, I was the man in. I had sort of 70 odd to my name. So, it was up to me. I had to go and do it. So,
Had you decided where that ball was going as he ran in?
No, so I wish you could do that in cricket, Jesse, but you kind of have to play what you see. You have an inkling by the way that they set their field, and he brought up mid-off and mid-on, which are the 2 players that are sort of directly behind the ball. I brought them off the boundary, so that would indicate that it's going to be a short ball. Now, I thought, okay, well, I don't think he will go short because that could be top edge 6. So I had an inkling he was going to go back of a length, but you also have to cater for the Yorker as well, which is probably the delivery he should have gone for, the Yorker. And I was just lucky on my day. I mean, as I hit it, it came off it felt like the top of the bat. And at Eden Park, they've got these really bright LED lights. And as the ball left my bat, I was like, oh, have I got enough of that? And I looked into the sky, and it was in the LED light. I couldn't see it. And then it sort of cleared the LED lights. And I've still got that image in my head. I'm quite a visual sort of learner. And I've still got that image, which is quite a satisfying image for me to have. And then I knew it was going over. And I think it was just a scream of relief more than anything. Even though Vittori, he said to me, the first thing you did was celebrate. You didn't hug me. You should have hugged me first. And then obviously the whole team comes out, and I mean, it was exciting. Our first ever World Cup final, and you could tell what it meant to everyone at the stadium. You could tell what it meant to family and friends, and to New Zealand cricket at that stage. So very fortunate to be involved in a moment like that.
I'm going to play it one more time just for me. Here it comes.
Here we go. Dale Steyn. Elliot on strike. Elliot hits it up into the grandstand, and New Zealand are in the World Cup final. Grant Elliot, Superman.
See, that's another nickname that could have stuck Grant Elliot, Superman, but no, unfortunately not.
I don't mind the Hairy Javelin. It's all right. It's stuck. It's all good.
Ian Smith, by the way, great commentator. Who would you prefer to have commentating that moment? He just captured the excitement that we all felt. And then the final, which actually you had a great final against Australia, but it didn't really fire, eh?
No, thanks, Jesse. No one ever remembers that. I think that was one of my better innings, but no one ever remembers that innings. They go, "Oh, did you get runs in that?" And I was like, "Yeah,
83 runs." Yeah,
yeah. But, I think everyone, all they remember is Brendan going out sort of first over, and then I think everyone was like, "Oh, well, that's the game over." But we were actually in a fantastic position. Like, if you look at the scorecard, we were 150 for 3 after 35 overs. Ross Taylor and I were batting. We had quite a decent partnership going. And I think the message went out. We were just starting, there was a 35 over power play for 5 overs back then. And I said, I reckon we can get about 260, 270 was the message I sent back to the changing sheds. And literally then James Faulkner just had a blinder and just yeah, they got wicket after wicket. We had a collapse, and I don't want to live with regret, but that is one regret I have in life. Is I look at it and I'm like, oh, if we just had one person, get 30 or 40, we could have actually potentially got over the line. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lose sleep over it because it was an amazing campaign, and I think that had we played more in Australia, we probably would have been more ready for that game
Oh,
because we
yeah.
played every game in New Zealand,
Yeah, that's
and then
interesting.
travelled over to Aussie. So having to adapt to those conditions, Aussie played in Aussie and New Zealand, so probably a
Yep.
little bit more in their favour.
Okay, we won't
But
we don't need to rake over the coals. We've covered the best moments of that 2015 World Cup. And by the way, you don't have too much time left in your cricketing career by that point. Are you starting to think about what you're going to do after cricket and starting to plan for a transition?
I don't. I always looked to plan a transition. I was always involved in kind of startups and started my own cricket equipment business just for fun. It was called Buzz, and yeah, I was always looking at the transition, probably a little bit wary about it. So I think in hindsight, probably retired a little bit early, 38. I think I could have kept going another 2 years, but then you're just delaying the inevitable. You're delaying, you're going to have to be good at something else. So I'm really fortunate now that I've found a role that I really enjoy with Life Flight. That's the Westpac Rescue helicopter, and we've got 5 planes as well. So we do air ambulance work. And I'm the partnership manager, so I go around to all the partners and try and get them to donate and become part of our family and look to support us.
Yeah, cool.
And we've got to raise close on sort of 8 million a year. So there's just 7 of us. So it's an amazing organization that's been around for 50 years, and I enjoy that. And yeah, I never thought I would sort of be in that position, but they say that you have 10 careers in your lifetime now. It's not just one career like our parents probably said. You've got to find something and stay in it for 30 years. So yeah, it's exciting to try and find out what it is out there that you're going to be good at. And I think sport for me and for our children, like all those parents listening, like team sports are just so instrumental for children and their upbringing.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the character that you learn for it and the skills that you get from it. Like it's no maths class and geography and the English class will teach you the skills that you get on the sports field, especially if you have a good coach that is more concerned about character than the actual skills.
Yeah, thank goodness for
And
the
I
coaches. I'm just thinking about school sport, and thank goodness for the parents who put their hand up to coach, and particularly the ones who, as you say, are focusing on those things. By the way, how many times when you pull up in your Life Flight branded car do people say to you, "Oh, Grant, take me back to that day in 2015, talk me through it"? People must still be excited to hear it from you.
I do. I mean, Jesse, it's been 10 years now. I've got to, I do have to.
No.
I've always said
Don't
to
tell me I have
myself,
to move on, Grant.
if I have to walk through the door and people will be like, "There's Grant Elliot, the cricketer," like I need to try and be better at something else. I need to try and write another story. But I'm more than happy to talk about it because I know it's a special moment for a lot of New Zealand sports fans. And the day after it happened, we were in the airport, and this guy comes up to me and he goes, "I've got to tell you something." And I was like, "What's that?" And he goes, "I've had 2 children. But that night was the most special night of my life, best night of my life." I was just like, "Mate, just calm down. It's just a game. It's just a game."
Oh, that's good. What do you think of the state of cricket right now? And I guess particularly in the context of the rise of T20, the various Major League franchises, including the North American Major League Cricket franchise. Where is it all at? And do you think New Zealand cricket is playing the game right?
I think the word that I can best describe it, the first one that came into mind is, well, it's confusing, but it's also sad. Like, it's sad because for me and you, we grew up in a world where it was country versus country. And there's a tie there. There's an emotional tie. Like when New Zealand play against whoever it is, there's an emotional tie to everyone watching the game. And it's more than just a sport. But when Hyderabad play Mumbai, it means a lot to the people in India, but it doesn't mean anything to, the players that play for it. They don't have an emotional tie to Mumbai or Hyderabad or the people. So it then becomes quite a selfish thing. Whereas I feel like playing for your country is selfless. Like I would always think of the 4 million people, 5 million people of New Zealand. That's who we're representing. And I feel like franchise cricket has just gone into professional sport where the players just representing themselves. And I think that when we lose international cricket, we will lose the sport. I think international cricket is what ties a lot of people to the sport. I don't think that there'd be a lot of people that tune into franchise cricket and have that attachment, that emotional attachment, and that's what makes it special. So New Zealand cricket and the ICC need to hang on to international cricket as much as they can, as hard as they can. And I do feel like, unfortunately, it's already out of hand now. I think there's too many leagues out there. There's too many players making choices. I'd love New Zealand cricket to be in a position where they go, either you play for your country or you play franchise. You choose. If you play for New Zealand cricket, well, then we're going to look after you. And that's what New Zealand rugby did at one stage. And I just feel like players are getting picked from franchise cricket as well. So I feel like it's lost, Jesse. Unfortunately, it's going to be an inevitable end unless the ICC step up and can pay the players to compensate them for some of the franchise leagues that they're going to.
Gosh, that's sad to hear. And it's hard to imagine New Zealand cricket having the power to stand up to the franchise system. But as you say, maybe if it's the ICC and the various countries, representative countries banding together, maybe they've got a chance?
Well, I think what we need India, England and Australia to play ball and say, okay, well, we're not just going to look after each other. We're going to look after the game here, the game of cricket.
Yeah.
And then, there has to be an international window. So maybe it's international window of only international cricket, no franchise cricket. But, from what I understand, a lot of these franchise or tournaments don't make a lot of money. And it'll be interesting to see. It's only the IPL really that is the one that basically puts the wind in cricket sails, and the BCCI. So I don't know how it ends. In my mind, it ends as being a franchise cricket. It ends as players being affiliated to a Mumbai or a Hyderabad and playing in 3 or 4 different competitions around the world that they have teams in. And very rarely seeing them playing for their country. And that's the unfortunate, inevitable end that it's coming to now. And I don't know how, the powers that be, they're the ones that have to fight it out at the top. But I think that means Indian cricket giving away a lot of control.
All right. Sorry to end on a downer, but thank you for the conversation today, and thank you for the memories, and thank you for the memory. Grant Elliot, great to have you on today.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it.
Grant Elliot on New Zealand Sporting History.